In a previous video, we have configured load balancing with Umbraco. In this video, we are going to use GitLab's bidirectional mirroring as an external repository to pull and push changes from Umbraco Cloud and also to push the changes to a GitHub repository. So let's get started. Please note that I will not go too in-depth about GitLab and bidirectional mirroring, as you can read more about this in this following article called Using GitLab Bidirectional Mirroring or Azure DevOps Release Pipelines to Auto-Deploy into Umbraco Cloud. Here you can read more about the setup of GitLab, what is GitLab, and much more. We will use the same steps from this article, more specifically for the bidirectional mirroring. As a first thing, you need to make sure that you have an account on gitlab.com. You can sign up for a free trial so that you can actually get access to the bidirectional mirroring feature. I have already created an account, as you can see right here, and if I head into the groups, I created a group called Cross Cloud Load with a project called Cross Cloud Load as well. And as we can see, it doesn't have anything, neither a readme file, and that's because we are going to get the repository from Umbraco Cloud into this GitLab repository. So the purpose of this repository is only to automatically deploy the changes from Umbraco Cloud to a GitHub repository. And this is because we are going to need a GitHub repository so that we can set up the cross-region load balancing with Google Cloud Platform's Cloud Run. So let's get started with setting up the bidirectional mirroring. For this, we will need to go to Settings, Repository, and here under Mirroring Repositories, we can click to add new mirror repository. And here we can see the automatic pull mirror direction. As first, we will need to pull some changes. And then what kind of authentication method? In this case, we are using Umbraco Cloud. So we need to add in the login and password that we used to log into the Umbraco Cloud portal. And what is most important, we will need to add a Git repository URL. And this is the one from the Umbraco Cloud project, where I will just copy the URL and paste it in here with the addition of adding our email after the HTTPS. And this is again the email that has access to your project on the Umbraco Cloud. So in this case, my email is tm@umbraco.ak. And here we will need to add one more @ and then leaving the rest of the path as it is. And I will also need to update the username and password. And then we can leave the rest as it is and click to mirror repository. Then we will get a notification that the mirroring settings were successfully updated and the project will be updated as well. So now if we head back to our project on GitLab, we should be able to see absolutely the same files and folder that we have just like on our normal clone of the Umbraco Cloud project. Moving on, we will also need to set up a push repository for the project. So in this case, we need to add one more mirroring repository with a push direction this time. So I will update this as well. And also the URL needs to be the same as well. And then we are going to leave the rest as it is. Moving on, we also need to set up a push mirroring towards a GitHub repository. And for this, let's create a new empty repository. And you can call this however you wish for. You can also set it to private. I will call this cross-region cloud load. And I will create a repository. I will copy the URL and then in GitLab I will add a new mirroring repository. I will paste in the URL and under the username, this will need to be your username for GitHub, which in my case is Alina Tinkas, and I will just paste that in. And for the password, for this one is a little bit interesting, as in order for this to work out, the password will need to be a token. So in this case, we need to go to the settings section for our GitHub account. Under developer settings, personal access tokens, tokens classic, we need to generate a new classic token. And then here we can give it a name. In this case, for example, I can give the name of the same repository, but you can give whatever name you like in this case. You can also set up an expiration. In this case, I will just set it to 90 days. Or if you're using the project for longer, then you will need to change to no expiration. What is important to select here is the repository scope so that we are able to make changes to this repository. And then we just need to generate token, and this is the one that we can add as a password and mirror repository. Now that we have set up a push mirroring repository for GitHub, let's update now the mirroring so that we can see if we get the repository, and there we go. As we can see, we get absolutely the same files and folders as we have on GitLab and on Umbraco Cloud as well. Now, before proceeding with the next steps, let's make sure that the connection between GitLab, GitHub, and Umbraco Cloud works. The easiest way to test this out is that we can update in GitLab, because this is the connection between both the GitHub and the Umbraco Cloud project, by updating one of our templates with some text. So for example, we know that we have created a home template. So I will just go into that and then let's edit it. For example, we can add some text. I'll just add an h1 tag as well, and then here instead I will write, this is a cross region load balanced Umbraco Cloud project. And then here the current date and UTC time is. And then we can commit our changes directly to the master branch. So then the mirroring feature of GitLab should automatically push our changes to both Umbraco Cloud and GitHub. However, it's also possible to just go directly into the mirroring repositories and then just click the update now buttons so that we can push directly these changes. We can see now that the remote repository is being updated, so now we just have to wait for the changes to show both on GitHub, as we can see our changes right here, and also on Umbraco Cloud. And we can also see the change in the back office. Seems like we need to wait a little bit more for Umbraco Cloud. As we can see, it's still updating, so we just need to wait a little bit more. And there we go. Now I have the changes on Umbraco Cloud as well. So in this video, we have used GitLab to set up a bidirectional mirroring so that we can pull the changes from Umbraco Cloud and then push those changes back, but also push those changes to a GitHub repository as well. And lastly, we have tested out the connection between all of them so that we can see if they work. So this is it for this video. See you in the next one.